I gotta tell you a story about a couple of guys. We got a show about fights in a garage. Don't ask me why. Okay, ask me why. We're the Handsome Asians Motorcycle Club.
Good evening. Welcome to the Handsome Asians Motorcycle Club. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Dirtbag Challenge, a local San Francisco motorcycle building event. I think a lot of people are familiar with this. Got a little bit of a following. We've been involved with the Dirtbag Challenge probably since what? I think 2008 was the first one we attended, and we've been to every single one since then. We got so involved and close to the whole event that we made two documentaries about the event. We made Dirtbag, and where we followed, was it 5 or 6 build teams?
5 or 6 builders, yeah.
Yeah, 5 or 6 build teams, and then we followed it up with Dirtbag 2.
The Return of the Rattler.
The Return of the Rattler, where we ourselves built a chopper of our own. So the Dirtbag Challenge started in 2003, and since that time, there have been 15 events, including one in New York City. During that time, the event has grown in popularity, and it's kind of developed a following. And during that time as well, the event's it's evolved into what it is today. And tonight, to talk about the evolution of the Dirtbag Challenge, is the founder, Paul Brown. Paul?
Eric, how are you, brother? Thank you.
So, Paul, aside from the event, you're pretty much known for the event, but no one really knows who you are. So
what do I do?
What do you
All that
do?
shit? Well, I'm a union stagehand. I work through Local 16, San Francisco, and I generally build scenery, but I also do hard install of AV systems, audio video systems, and just general stagehand work. Sometimes I paint stuff, sometimes I weld stuff.
So, I mean, do you find that that line of work is kind of in line with just your general lifestyle? Do you like working with your hands?
Yep. I mean, I'm very much a hands-on kind of person. I grew up in what you guys call a blue-collar environment, working class in English. My stepdad's a carpenter. Both my brothers are carpenters. Both my brother-in-laws are carpenters. So we're very much a construction-oriented family, I guess. My uncles that taught me how to ride, one of them was a bricklayer.
Well, getting back to the Dirtbag Challenge, do you want to just go over a brief, rundown of
Sure.
how it's kind of evolved?
How it's evolved? Well,
yeah.
it's good and bad. Always, typically of a low-budget local event like ours, it kind of took on a life of its own. It's evolved organically. We didn't really have a plan. We just put on a party, and every year it got bigger. And more bands came and played, and
right.
We have more volunteers, you guys included. Both
right.
You and Frank have helped out over the years. So there was never really a plan, and I think because there wasn't a plan, I ended up in a place that I didn't like very much. What it appears to have evolved into, from my perspective, is very much a sideshow type scenario where a lot of people come just to see fools with contraptions doing burnouts.
Mm-hmm.
And
whether they're related to the show or not.
Whether they're related to the show or not. And also, even though I'm the first idiot to do a burnout, a freestanding burnout without the front wheel up against the wall, that's not a burnout.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually the first one to do that. It became like that was the focus of the show, where people would just build sometimes viable motorcycles, but sometimes art projects, just to show up and do burnouts for as long as they could.
Sure.
And the crowd shows up to see that kind of action instead of showing up to see what it was originally about, was building viable, authentic, real world custom bikes on a working man's budget. Right. That's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. So this last year, in fact 2 weeks ago, we just held the last one that's going to be like that. I wanted to cut it off cold and be like, fuck that, no more of that. But I also I felt some responsibility to the community that's grown up around the event, to be honest with you. A lot of people are big fans of this event who I don't even know and don't know me and don't know what my life is like. A lot of them think they know me and think they know I think the majority of people that come to Dirtbag think that I spend the entire year doing rolling burnouts around the Bay Area dressed in a striped sweater.
Right.
Really.
Well, that's kind of funny because you said that speaks to the whole event evolving. Like I said, we've been involved in it since '08.
For sure, for years now.
For years, and we've kind of noticed that a lot of the faces have changed, right? A lot of, like you said, a lot of people have come and gone in terms of volunteering.
Well, and also in terms of the builders.
Right, exactly.
That's definitely changed and progressed.
We're used to seeing some of the same faces as builders, but
absolutely, I didn't have any. There were people I knew that came this year, but none of the old crowd.
Right.
A lot of people that I'm now best friends with, I met through Dirtbag, and none of those people really are involved anymore in building. They still show up, but they don't really build anymore. People's lives change, so it's definitely evolved over the years. Certainly, as far as the builders are concerned and the party itself.
Actually, we have some footage of this recent event of people showing up. We should probably show that, actually.
Great. Let's take a look at that.
let's take a look. So it looks like a lot of fun, right? I mean, everyone arrives, they do their celebratory little burnout.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I did notice that you weren't in the
I
shot.
didn't see you. Where were you?
Well, I had a minor mechanical incident.
Okay.
My riding in the dirt, I broke my chain adjusters. In fact, I only had one left after the cross-country ride, and I didn't bother to change it. Like, why would you do that? Something that's safety related. So I didn't have a chain adjuster, and I was drag racing Jason and Justin from a stoplight. Wasn't on a public highway, I don't think, but we're drag racing, and all that torque low down just pulled my rear wheel forward, and I threw the chain. Well, they went on ahead, and I was almost caught up with them, thinking that my bike was running great again, and I was drag racing George, who's my buddy. That was he was riding along with the photographer on the back. Hi Heidi. She was on the back of him shooting photographs, and so I decided to drag race him, and then I really threw the chain, and it tangled around the front sprocket and broke off the head of my oil sending unit and spilled oil all over the highway.
Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, I fixed it.
How'd you do that?
I MacGyvered it.
Trade secret.
No, I put a couple of half-inch bolts with a couple of lock nuts on them in front of the axle so it couldn't move forward. I basically pinched it in place, you know, and then of course I reset the chain and adjusted all that. And I took off the oil sending unit because, I have a little toolkit on my bike.
Yeah.
And I try and design my bikes so they only use like 2 or 3 different sizes, so you can carry the wrenches easily. And I took the oil sending unit off and I put some epoxy inside it and then put it back on, and it held. And it held, and I rode home and did a celebratory burnout myself when I finally did show up after dark.
So this year there was no chase truck at all?
There was no chase truck. I've tried for the past few years to have no chase truck, and this is part of the evolution that Eric was asking about. My take is that if you are going to build a bike that you're supposedly going to ride in the real world, then you wouldn't have your mum driving behind you on the way to work, would you, right?
Yeah.
So why would you have your buddy or your old lady driving everywhere you go on the Dirtbag run?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
So what else about this year's event was different than years past?
Well, this year, for the first time ever, we went camping.
Really?
Yeah, we went camping. We rode up to the Mendocino National Forest to a campsite that I've been to many times. It's one of my favorite dirt bike sites. And we stayed overnight.
Wait, you just said dirt bike sites. So that means...
It was in the dirt.
So you took... There was quite a bit of some dirt ridings. You took...
4 miles of dirt road to get to the campsite. It took the whole thing back to the basics of enjoying motorcycles with your buddies. We went for a ride in the country, and then we camped out and we had a campfire and we looked at the stars, and then we got up in the morning and rode back through the dirt and hammered home. It was fun. It was really fun, actually.
How'd everyone do in the dirt?
Actually, everyone did remarkably well. There's a club from, I think, San Jose, the Creeps. None of their bikes had any ground clearance. Their bikes were all based on sports bikes. And I was like, how the fuck are they going to get up there? Oh, well. One guy had 3 inches of ground clearance. And they made it the whole way. And then, there were a couple of little minor get-offs.
Yeah.
Not from me. But from everybody had a little moment. Everybody got back safe, and I was really, really impressed. Most of those people had not only never ridden in the dirt, they certainly hadn't ridden a chopper in the dirt, which is a whole different thing. And it was nighttime, and everybody was lost. Nobody knew where they were going. Dirtbag has always been about building bikes and riding bikes. It's all about, authenticity, which is a little pompous, but that's what I got. I would like more people to participate in the building and riding of bikes other than the coming to look at bikes.
So what does the future of Dirtbag hold then? Where do you see it going?
I would like to take Dirtbag on the road. That's where it belongs. So next year, Dirtbag Challenge is going to be a long run. Like a long weekend or a week. I don't know yet. I haven't finalized it. But we're going to ride to a large motorcycle event, and we're going to camp out. That's what bikers do. That's what bikers do when I was a kid. That's what bikers did before World War II. That's what hopefully bikers will be doing in 100 years.
So the bike that you rode for this year's Dirtbag, that was the same bike that you took on your trip across the country, right?
That was the same bike that I built. I built that bike in my garage at home and in my buddy Jason's side yard. My buddy Nate has a metal shop, and he basically helped me fab the tank up. I have very specific requirements for the tank, capacity and looks. But basically it was a home built bike, and I trucked it to the East Coast and then rode it back by the Transamerica Trail. You guys know what that is, right? That's
right.
Off-road route that goes across the US. And we started on the beach in North Carolina, and we ended on the dock. There was no beach in Oregon. We rode coast to coast. Another guy came with me and filmed the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we're getting together with your compadre Paolo, and we're gonna hopefully produce a little documentary about it.
Have you got a name for this project?
It's called Bridget. Yeah,
Bridget.
Paolo came up with that name, and I think it's perfectly appropriate. I fucking hate people telling me I can't do something.
Right.
Since childhood, you know. I think we had this discussion before. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. You know, go fuck yourselves. You know, it can be done. You have to set your mind to it. You need help. Often, you know. And again, it's not like I have this Everest to climb.
Yeah.
At the same time, talk is cheap. And saying ain't doing. And there are plenty, innumerable, in fact. You couldn't count the number of people out there that tell you that to do this ride, you've got to have an adventure bike. Again, it's not because I really, really want to say fuck you, but I just kind of want to say fuck you. You know?
Yeah.
Really?
Sometimes fuck you is fuck you.
So thanks for tuning in to this latest edition of the Handsome Asians Motorcycle Club. Again, look out for the latest Bridget Project and more details on the next Dirtbag Challenge.
Yeah. Dirtbag Challenge on Facebook.
That's right. For more details, look it up on Facebook. Have a good night.
If you like what you saw, click here to subscribe or leave a comment below. And make sure to check out our movie, which recently won the People's Choice Award at the Motorcycle Film Festival in Brooklyn, New York, at vimeo.com/ondemand/dirtbag2.